when it's at
the
sea.
thing is, the answer is so simple and straightforward that you're confused about why we're asking you.
It's often called the Union Jack and often called the Union Flag.
I heard you telling someone off about it the other day, actually.
There we go. It's the reason we're asking...
Phil, telling someone off about something.
No, surely not. Anyway, the reason we're asking will become clear in just a second. Like another question. The name given to the person who chairs the debates in the House of Commons, Steph?
The chairs the debates in the House of Commons?
Yes. The Speaker.
Oh, the Speaker.
Okay, good. No, not his name, just...
Yes, you see, you're assuming they're much harder than they actually can
I go now?
We're going to have to deport Steph. Those are just two sample questions from the rewritten British Citizenship test, which will be introduced in March.
And questions on subjects like water meters and job interviews, which we could have asked you,
easily.
They've been ditched in favour of what ministers say are the values and principles at the heart of being British.
So...
here are some more.
Yes, we thought we'd test your Britishness, and Steph's particularly, with a few of the new questions that will be in the new exam.
Steph, what is the name of the Admiral?
I'm going now. See ya.
Yeah, you can go. So, what is the name of this? Really has gone now. The Admiral who died in a sea battle in 1805 and has a monument in Trafalgar Square in London.
Is it A, Cook, B, Drake, C, Nelson, or D, Raleigh? And the correct answer, of course, is C. It's Lord Nelson, Admiral Nelson.
So who is the patron... oh, hello, that's where Steph was. Who is the patron saint of Scotland? St Andrew, St David, St George, or St Patrick? It is, of course, St Andrew.
Yes. And finally, at her Jubilee in 2012, how many years as Queen did Queen Elizabeth II celebrate? A, 25, B, 40, C, 50, or D, 60?
Well, it was, of course, 60. So, would you have got those right? Because those are the questions that those wanting to be British citizens have to pass.
Do these tests really prove that those who pass are good citizens, though? With us to discuss this is Erich McElroy, an American-born comedian who passed the old citizenship test, and Sander Katwala from British Future. It's an independent think tank looking at issues of British identity and migration. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
You actually emigrated from Seattle to come to Britain.
Yes. Well, the weather was about the same, so I figured I could handle that. And, yeah, I came to the UK to steal a British person's job and was successful at doing so.
Okay.
So that was my main motivation.
You say tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
And you had to pass a test.
I did.
So what kind of questions? Because we're being told that questions about water meters were thrown out. Did you get the one about water meters right?
I did. Well, I didn't have that question on my test.
Oh, okay.
The question I had that stood out was how frequently are children in the UK given their pocket money? That was apparently crucial enough to put on the test.
You're not serious, that wasn't a question?
That was one of my 24 or 25 questions, yes.
But there isn't a right answer to that.
Well, what do you think the answer is?
Well,
So, very rarely.
Well, these days, I think now if the recession, they'd say never, but the official answer was weekly. It's the correct British response.
Is that a good question? Is that worth throwing out?
Yeah, that's well worth throwing out. I think there were a lot of slightly daft questions, which if you were administering local government, you might need to know about rules and regulations. But there weren't these questions on culture and history. So now we're putting in, do you know that Jessica Ennis won a gold medal? And, you know, that makes you British, or, you know, Lord Nelson and so on. It's a good rule of thumb to say, why don't we ask questions that most people in the country might know? And the old test failed that test, and hopefully the new one might pass it.
These sound like questions that would help you fit in if you're having a conversation in a pub.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? I mean, does it really...
Depends who's in the pub.
Depends who's in the pub, obviously, but does it really... What's the best way, do you think, to test people's ability to live here?
Well, I mean, I think a citizenship test is done more out of a position of fear, like, you know, to make people feel better about people coming here, because otherwise it is just basically a glorified pub quiz, because you've memorized things that are in a handbook and then put it forward. So
you're given all the information in the handbook, and then you just have to remember it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, living in a place and contributing to it and being part of it and being part of a citizen of the country, that's what really matters. But it's harder to assess that and to feel, you know, put your hands around that as a concept.
So, Sander, actually, these are questions for everybody else to know that those wanting to be British citizens are having to answer.
I think that's right, but I don't think that's without value, because people want to know, firstly, can people speak English? Because if you can't speak English, you're actually not going to be able to integrate in terms of employment or in terms of culture, in terms of democracy or anything else. And then secondly, do you have some sort of commitment to the society you're joining? Now, actually, people who've chosen to come here, travelled here, have lived here for 5 years and now want the passport, they probably are committed. So a sign that says that they're committed is fine. Emotional attachment might take some time. You know, knowing there's a poppy is one thing. Feeling it's part of something you want to do might take longer. But I think there's some value in that symbolic reassurance.
Eric, do you feel British?
I think so. I mean, I think it's a slow thing. I mean, I've lived more of my adult life here, and I know that I've definitely, of course, I bring my Americanisms with me, but, so sometimes I get excited about, excited the whole thing. I took the test, I had the ceremony, swore an oath of allegiance to Queen Elizabeth II under heirs and successors.
You're not sounding entirely British, Jeff.
Well, no, I don't. Well, if
Could
I
work on that accent.
If I put one on, though, I'd sound. You wouldn't be happy with me if I tried to put one on, would you?
No,
And comedy, of course, one of the great things that makes it
exactly.
British.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a very British product that you're helping
I
to
hope so.
support. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to talk to you this morning. Coming up.